Well, I know that if you, by any definition I say of standard, it sounds like a long process. But this is a significant thing for everybody involved, certainly the fans of Washington. And so I think doing it right and having people of this caliber that are involved is worth the wait.
High caliber people involved, and Jerry Jones expressing confidence that the deal will get done, that will transfer the Commanders to Josh Harris. Jim Irsay, member of the Finance Committee, owner of the Colts, not quite as optimistic as Jerry. Said Irsay there's certain criteria that has to be met. It's not there. It doesn't mean it can't get there. It's complicated. You hope it gets done, but there's more work to be done at this point. To have a new ownership group in there before the season opener, that would be a goal. It's tough because it has to comply. The Waltons complied. David Tepper complied. Everyone knew the rules up front. We wouldn't change the rules now. We thought long and hard about where the rules are at this point, and they're there for a reason. And kudos to Jim Irsay for holding that rope, because my concern has been this desire to get rid of Dan Snyder is going to get owners to look the other way on some of these rules, and Commanders fans are going to end up with an owner who maybe doesn't have the financial wherewithal to run the team the right way. If you're glossing over structural aspects, do you have the cash on hand to go out and get free agents, to win the jump balls for free agents, to throw in a little extra money? Can you structure your contract offer in a way that pays all the money right now, or do you need to wait until the start of the season like other owners need to do? Those are real concerns, and if you're glossing over rules to get a deal approved, you may not have the best possible owner. I think ideally every team would be owned by somebody who can just write the check and buy the team, but there are fewer and fewer people who can do that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. I give Irsay a lot of credit too. I don't know. I kind of just took this as this was, done, slam dunk, in the bag. Like it's going to be sold to Josh Harris. He makes you think a little differently, certainly. I don't know, Mike. I mean, do you think that it's a thing that definitely gets done here, or it's just they're going to figure out some of these details? Is he going to have to find some more cash to, appease them or appeal to them? What goes down here?
One of the big issues is the number of limited partners. Although they are not yet at the maximum, there are enough that have to be properly vetted, because you don't want to have somebody that's welcomed into ownership that you later find out shouldn't have been approved.
Right.
So that adds to the workload. Then there's the issue of debt. See, what you have to do to own a team under current rules, you've got to be able to buy 30% of it without debt. You have to have the cash to buy 30% of the team. So $6.05 billion, do the math. What is that? That's $1.8 billion. You need to write the check for 6.05. I think that's right.
That's pretty
thereabouts.
close. Yeah, you're right.
You got to be able to write that check without debt. And then there's a debt limit in a transaction like this of $1.1 billion. And there were concerns about whether or not they are, as a practical matter, going above that debt limit. There's a question of debt from Josh Harris being secured by other businesses he owns, which is something they don't do. So there's a lot of stuff that just needs to be ironed out. And the problem is they're so desperate to get rid of Dan Snyder that they may be inclined to soften some of these rules and to look the other way and to not insist that the deal comply with the way things are always done, in order to ensure that it's somebody who truly has the financial standing to be a member of Club Oligarch.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing. You're right. And I mean, I wouldn't think the NFL wants to risk, a pretty awesome business model just to get Daniel Snyder out of here, and then maybe open up Pandora's box to more problems later down the road and have more issues with the Commanders. So I would think, like Jim Irsay said, there's more work to be done. They'll get this right and get the situation where the NFL wants it to. But yeah, interesting. And interesting that he had the guts to kind of say that, because I felt like I hadn't heard anything like that until he said it.
And one other thing to keep an eye on, we haven't talked about it here recently, the Brian Davis bid that always felt kind of phony from the get-go, that this is somebody who didn't even come close to having the kind of money necessary to buy a team. A lawsuit was filed by his company last week against Bank of America, which is responsible for putting this deal together. And that could be the first step. Could be. Time will tell whether that's the first step in a broader attack on the entire structure of rules that the NFL has for selling and buying teams, because the argument would be it's all one big antitrust violation. These are private businesses. People should be able to buy and sell them however they see fit. No trade association should be allowed to put rules and regulations on how a deal is structured. If you want to sell a business, you should be able to sell it. And if somebody wants to buy a business, they should be able to buy it however and wherever they get their money from. So keep an eye on that. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.